Hi, I'm Dr. Matthew Anderson, and this is number 13 in my series of videos during the COVID crisis. Each video is designed to help you manage your emotions, your thoughts, your physical body, your whole self during this COVID event. And as I said, this is number 13, which is a kind of an auspicious number because it can mean a bad luck. Some people think 13 is a bad luck number. However, on the flip side of that, a little known fact is from the point of view of Jungian psychology, depth psychology, Jung spelled J-U-N-G, Carl Jung psychology. The number 13 actually, from a numerology point of view, is a 1 plus a 3, which equals a 4. And 4 is the number for wholeness. And so instead of 13 being bad luck, we could see it as a number that contains wholeness if we pay attention. So today, I just want to share with you, I had a very special visitor this week when I was working on planning this talk, and I called the talk Jedi Mind Tricks, Staying Centered, Calm, and Anxiety-Free During Stressful Times. And apparently, my friend Yoda, the wisest, oldest, and strongest Jedi, came by to visit me. He came by and he said, Matthew, here is Jedi wisdom. Share you must. So he actually came by and he said hello, and he left me this little memento of himself. This is not really Yoda. He left, but he left this here. And whenever I see it, I'm supposed to think about the wisdom that he shared with me that he told me to tell you about. So I'm going to tell you what Yoda's wisdom, the Jedi mind tricks that he gave me for really helping in this very difficult times. And if for some reason you don't know who Yoda is, then you have to go to the movie series Star Wars and watch every one of them. There's about 989 of them. No, it's probably less than that. But Yoda has always been my favorite character in that series, and it was wonderful this week to get a visit from him, and he also left me a little gift. So I'm going to tell you what he said to me. Really kind of amazing. Because they're so powerful, and they're coming from some being who has a deep connection to what in Star Wars they call the Force. May the Force be with you is a kind of Star Wars language for talking about the divine power. And so this is from Yoda, and remember, one of my favorite sayings that Yoda has that I share with clients all the time. It's probably not a week that passes that I don't say this to somebody. Yoda said, "Do or do not. There is no try. Do or do not. There is no try." And so it means to give something that we're going to do our all. We either commit to it or we don't commit to it. There's nothing in between. You don't try to do these things. So I'm suggesting to you, as you hear the techniques for staying centered, calm, and anxiety-free that I'm going to share with you, that you remember what Yoda said. Do or do not. Do these or don't do these. Don't mess around with them, because if you sort of do them, sort of try, you're going to decide that they don't work, and you'll give up, and you will miss out on the real power of these techniques. So remember what Yoda said. He's back. I love this guy. So he says, do or do not. There is no try. So the first one is highly powerful and significant, and it's 3 words. It's given us 3 words and physical hand signs to go with them. The first one is stop, breathe, embrace. Stop, breathe, embrace. Now, what does that mean? Most of the time when human beings are confronted with something that's overwhelming or frightening, we have one of 3 responses, or really their reactions. We either fight, we go into flight. Most people know about fight, flight, but there's a third F in this. There's fight, there's flight, and the third one is freeze. You've seen rabbits do it, or deer in the headlight kind of thing. You probably had the experience yourself on occasion. Something happened that was really frightening. And for some period of time, maybe it was just a moment, you've just froze. So fight, flight, or freeze are the first reactions. This one says, when you start to experience the difficulties that are going on today, and they are particularly added to in this COVID crisis, every single day by the news and all the different kinds of things that are going on, the first thing to tell yourself to do is stop. Just stop. Just stop. Now, if you're driving the car when you're listening to this, don't do that. But when you're not in the car, just stop. Now, for most of us in the United States, in our society, simply stopping is really, really hard. We are the kings and queens of busyness. We're always doing stuff. If someone of my clients said to me the other day, I'm starting to stutter. This is so. This bothered me so much. One of my clients said to me the other day, you got to make your videos a lot shorter. Why should I make them shorter? Well, they're too long for me to listen to. When do you listen to them? When I'm at the stop sign, I'm driving the car, I stop, I listen to it. No. I'm not making them shorter. If anything, they need to be longer. And first, you need to learn how to really stop. So Yoda's saying, if you want to get to the place of being centered and calm and anxiety-free, first, stop. Then, second thing, breathe. Now, notice I put my hand on my chest. Most people breathe in through the chest, and if you breathe in using your chest muscles, you're going to feel more anxious because your chest muscles were not designed to help you breathe. Your belly muscles, your diaphragm is designed to help you breathe. And when we get more and more anxious, we start breathing up here in the chest. It cuts off the flow of oxygen to our bodies, and we start going into literally a physical anxiety because the body's saying to us, I'm not getting enough oxygen. So first you have to stop, then take some deep breaths. Now you can start breathing any way that works for you. If you don't know how to do belly breathing, meaning you put your hand on your solar plexus, your belly button, and you breathe in, and when you breathe in, your belly button should rise. Your belly button should go like that because it's pulling air down into your body. So you breathe in, you breathe out. Now, if you can breathe in through your nose, that's even better because there's certain gases in the air in addition to oxygen that literally interact with your brain, change the chemistry, and even make you more relaxed. It's the same gas that they use when you go to the dentist and they give you what they call laughing gas. I'm not kidding. I'm not making a joke. It's in the air. When you breathe in through your nose, you have more sensitivity to that gas than you do if you do mouth breathing. Now, stop. Breathe. Breathe 3 times after you've stopped. Now, some people have such a hard time stopping, they have to just keep working on that for a little bit. Just stop. Stop your body, stop your mind, stop doing what you're doing. Stop. Then breathe. Third, embrace. Now, this part may not make any sense at first because, as I said, we typically, when something is frightening or difficult or threatening, want to fight it, we want to run away from it, or if nothing else works for us, we want to freeze. I'm saying to you, and this, you're going to have to accept that this is from Yoda, and this is from some of the wisest women and men who have ever walked the planet. This did not start with Matthew. I'm passing this on to you. We have to learn to do the thing that we might say is almost counterintuitive. Embrace the thing that we are afraid of. We don't fight it, we don't run from it, and we don't freeze. We embrace. Now, let's say you're feeling anxious. Let's say you're feeling terribly anxious. So the first thing for you to do is stop. Then breathe. Let yourself be with that feeling and then embrace it. Allow yourself to be with, embrace the anxiety. Give it a chance to talk to you. Imagine your anxiety can tell you what it's really trying to say to you, why it's trying to get your attention. It may have something very, very important to tell you. In fact, if you feel anxious a lot, it means your anxiety is knocking on the door a lot. It wants to tell you something. If you embrace it, it's going to get easier. Now, the truth about things we are afraid of is the more we run from them, the bigger they seem. Now, years ago, I think it was probably 30 years ago, at least, maybe more. Anyway, long time ago, I went to see the movie Alien. You can still find it on Netflix or other places like that. It's called Alien, and it's the whole series was built on it. Up until that point in my life, it was maybe it is still the scariest movie I ever saw, and I'll tell you what made it so frightening. They kept showing the alien as a blip on their radar, and it was moving around the ship, and you couldn't really see it. And so you could feel it coming, but you couldn't see it, and people were trying to get away from it. And the more they ran away from it, the more frightening this monster became, until finally, always this guy standing there, he's looking out here, and he senses, uh-oh, it's right behind me. They turn around, and then the monster gets them. Now, as soon as you confront the monster, it starts to shrink, and that is in its power. It is far more frightening. As we're running from it, it's behind us and we can't see it. So when we turn to embrace our fear, to embrace our anxiety, to embrace our sadness, maybe you've lost someone in this, maybe someone is sick and died, maybe it's a parent, a family member, or your grandmother, your grandfather, somebody really precious to you, okay? I'm not making light of this. This is really important. If you have a powerful feeling that's uncomfortable and you want that feeling to become more manageable, don't run from it. Stop, take some breaths, and then embrace it. Be with the feeling and allow it to communicate with you. Now, I know I'm not telling you something easy to do here. This comes from Yoda. He was a Jedi Knight, the strongest one, the best swordsman. And, as the story goes, he was 900 years old, okay? 900. So he had enormous wisdom. He's saying to us, at least he told me to tell you this, stop, breathe, and embrace the thing that you are afraid of. You don't kill it, you don't run from it, and you don't shrink into a ball. You embrace it. Okay, that's enough on that one. Now, he also told me about a Tibetan Buddhist meditation. I've known about this for a while, and I've actually done this meditation on numerous occasions. But he said, share you must. The Tonglen meditation. Tonglen, Tonglen, one word. You can Google it. It'll tell you lots about it, maybe more than you even want to know. But it's on YouTube, and you can go through it that way. But I'm going to tell you basically what it is. It's a meditation in which you stop, you sit. You don't have to sit in a full lotus or a half lotus position on the floor or on a pad. You can sit in a chair just like I'm in right now. But sit up straight, close your eyes, drop your hands in your lap, and breathe 2 or 3 times deeply to relax. You can do that right now, as long as you're not driving your car. Sit in a chair, stop, close your eyes, and take 2 or 3 deep breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth. The Tonglen meditation, Buddhist, teaches us to do the following. When you're in that position, when you breathe in, you either say or imagine, I take in the stress, the suffering, the pain, whichever one of those works for you. The stress, the suffering, the pain of the world. I breathe it in. Now you may say to me, that's crazy. But that's not the end of the meditation. So you're breathing in that thing that you would rather stay away from. You breathe in. I breathe in the suffering of the world. And when you breathe out, you say, I breathe out compassion. I breathe in the suffering of the world. I breathe out compassion. I breathe in the suffering of the world. I breathe out compassion. What happens is, right there in the midst of your own body, which before may have been filled with stress and confusion and anxiety or sadness or whatever, in the midst of all that, you stop and you do a counterintuitive thing, which is really often common to many spiritual practices, but they work. You breathe in the suffering. You don't run from it. You embrace it. You breathe in the suffering and you transmute it simply by saying, I breathe out compassion. Suffering becomes compassion. The energy of suffering becomes compassion. The energy of suffering becomes compassion, and you become the agent of transmutation, the agent of transformation, the agent of spiritual change, that you're breathing in this horror, this difficulty, this anxiety, this stress, this rage, this sadness, whatever is going on around you, within you or outside of you, doesn't matter. As you breathe it in, you are embracing it. As you breathe out, you're breathing out something entirely different. The antidote, which is compassion. Compassion, the root of compassion means, in a spiritual transforming sense, to suffer with. It is a form of love, a powerful, life-transforming energy of love that you can breathe out. So you can stop, you can breathe, and you can embrace. And then you can practice Tonglen, Tonglen, Buddhist meditation. Experiment with it. You don't have to be a Buddhist to do this. You don't have to be a Jedi to do this. Yoda says, share you must, do you must, no try. Okay? Now, another thing you can do, I shared this with a client just recently. He says to me, Matthew, how can I do that? I don't believe in God. And I said, it's a good thing we're on FaceTime right now, because I promised I would never strangle another client. But I stopped. Okay, so here's the thing. You can try what's called the serenity prayer. Now, for some of you, you're going to say, oh, of course, there's no problem for me. Praying is part of my life. And others are going to say, I don't believe in God. I don't care if you believe in God. God doesn't care if you believe in God. What you need to do is to say this out loud, and I'm going to read it so get it exactly right. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Accept the things I cannot change. Please, God, help me. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, which is very important, and truly important is the wisdom to know the difference. So you can repeat. I told this guy, I said, repeat this prayer. Write it down on a 3x5 card. Carry it around with you. It looks like this. That's a card. And repeat it over and over throughout your day. It will change your experience of anything that's going on with you if you follow Yoda's directions. Do or do not. There is no try. You don't pick up this card with the serenity prayer and say, oh, God grant me the serenity to accept things. Don't do that. Say it from your heart. Open your heart and pray that prayer. Not one time a day. That's not going to help you. 5 times a day. Every time you think of it, you carry this sucker around in your pocket and you pull it out and you read it and you say it like your life depends on it. It will change. It will change your anxiety. It will center you. It will calm you down. And it will open you up. Any one of the 3 things that I have given you. Now, I could tell you a dozen more techniques for being centered, being calm, and letting go of anxiety. At least a dozen. And there are many valuable ones. But Yoda said, Matthew, here is Jedi wisdom. Share you must. There were 3. So for me, from Yoda, do or do not. There is no try. I invite you to really use the 3 things I have shared with you today. They make a difference. God bless you.